Welcome, folks, to Business Relationships Matter today. Thank you for all turning up, and I am just delighted to have Linda Reed-Enever of Business here as our Spotlight speaker. Lynn, welcome along. I've known Linda, I think, since about 2014 when we met on the Gold Coast.
I was going to say, yeah, most probably. It was
Yeah. And I remember
2014 was when the group started. So, yeah, that's a long time ago.
what I found is that you had your young daughter there that time, and
Yeah,
and now she's working the business.
she's now running the Youngpreneurs podcast. Yeah, so she's running our Youngpreneurs side of our business publication and having fun with all of that. So, for those of you who don't know the group, there is a Facebook community called Business, Business, Business. There is 32,500 members currently sitting in there. You are more than welcome to come in and join, have conversations and engage with business owners. And yes, I'm a proud mum now that I get to watch my daughter host a podcast and interview great, amazing business owners and that sort of stuff. And yeah, she,
It really is great to see you. Everybody's got that. We've got around about 12 to 15 minutes,
yep,
including questions, and we'd like to get another round in if we can. But the key is this session because this is where we
yep.
learn and educate.
And guys, I'm happy to take questions. So we're going to talk today a little bit about the three things you can automate within your marketing. I do want to most probably highlight something in the world of AI. And as I was just talking to Jeff then, there is some changes coming into the legislation, especially in New York and in a couple of places in the US, where it comes to AI and marketing at the moment. So the one thing I will say to you, if for those of you who know me, I always talk about let's create one piece of content and then make it into more pieces of content when it comes to marketing. And for many of us, we've been using AI or we've been using automation, ideally within our business along the way. So I want everyone to think for a moment, when was the last time you wrote a blog post or a video and then you just shoved it out there on the internet and they're, cool, I'm going to hope that that's going to do its job and attract something for me? Because I can see Nick shaking his head because he's sitting here with the copywriters going, yeah, my clients do that all the time. They don't actually repurpose it. AI and automation is where you can actually get more out of that content. Now, for those of you who are running websites right now, most of the SEO plugins, Rank Math, Jetpack, most of them have released today, if not later on this week, the opportunity to now optimize your site for language model system. So there's a little button you can tick on and it will start to train the language models. So thinking Gemini, thinking Chat, thinking Claude, it's starting to do that. I'm a big believer in Rank Math Pro. It's a great system to be able to use on your website, and it will help you not always automate for language models, but also from an SEO point of view. So the first thing I talk about when we want to create content is let's create it once and use it multiple times. Okay. So if we're recording a video like Ross is doing right now, we're recording this session, we would clip that video into multiple pieces of content. Now, AI has got some handy tools out there you can use, like Opus Clip, like Descript, that will be able to clip the content into short clips, get the ums and ahs out of it. And if you're anything like me, Descript is amazing because you can edit like you're editing from a Word document, and gone are the old days where we have to splice things manually because it actually splices really, really well for you. If you're creating a blog post, you can then take that blog post to your favorite AI tool and go, get me the key statements out of here. Okay, if you do that multiple times, then you can take those key statements and use Canva Bulk Create to create a series of images for you regularly in your marketing that can then be shared again. One of the best AI and automation tools that we find business owners don't use enough is social media scheduling, because we're trying to trick the algorithms into seeing our content and then we're never consistent. The reason I'm consistent on social media is because we use a good social media scheduler. So there's two out there that we recommend. One is Meet Edgar, particularly designed for evergreen content. So, I'm going to say the same thing about marketing over and over again. It continually delivers my tips and my education, my blogs. We then have our RSS feed. So we're using automation and we're using AI to bring it in. And then Meet Edgar will then create, so from our blogs, from our podcasts, from our videos, it will then suggest variations of the post, taking those key statements with its AI writer to be able to deliver that content. That's a big one we love to use. The other one we love to use is Metrical, particularly for video, because its AI is always working in the background, working out what the best time to deliver that content is going to be. So automate it. Deliver your content when people are there and online. Sandra's away at the moment. She wants to be delivering content while she's in Athens, but not sitting there publishing it and posting it on the Australian time schedule. It's huge. We're going to get ideas at 2 in the morning. Use your social media schedulers to put that content out there. The other things that we can automate within our business, which are huge, are things like booking calendars. Automate, if you need someone to contact you and book in a time, give them an automation. Give them the opportunity to be able to book into your calendar so that you're not spending 3 days going back and forth in email world. And the other one that we find lots of people forget to do is they're creating all this content, they're not sending a newsletter out. Okay, so minimum is what I say to most of my clients is, if nothing else, send a monthly update with what you wrote. Use an RSS campaign based. So RSS is a syndication feed, and use it to send an email campaign that just gives you a monthly update of this is what I wrote in the blog this month, or this is what I put out in the world of content this month, and allow it to be able to go out as an update. So an RSS feed can pop in there. And finally, if you're doing e-commerce, anything like that, you need an abandoned cart campaign. It's the one thing we need to automate. Most business owners don't. They're like, I'm selling stuff. And then they forget what happens when someone adds something to cart, and then they walk away and they forget about it, because we've all done that before. We need to make sure that we've got a good abandoned cart sequence. And so you can set that up. MailerLite is most probably my chosen tool of choice, but if you're using WordPress, you're using Shopify, there is built-in integrations that you can use that as well. But ideally, we own two things on the internet: our website and our email list. So we want to be sending as much traffic as we can to our website and having our website found. And then we want to be converting those people onto our mailing list and then continually talking to them. So there's a lot in the world of AI at the moment, as I said, in New York, that's changing. And I want to talk about this from a marketing point of view because it's going to change here. We are getting legislation for AI-based content as it happens. So in New York recently and in Los Angeles, we've had a couple of changes to law, which basically says that any image that is generated that looks like a human, or video that's generated that looks like a human, has to now have a disclaimer on it to say that this is AI generated and not the real person, or not a person in real life. So you will have seen the videos that I talk about. I lost 10 kilos this week by Asian walking type videos or Asian yoga or whatever we're talking about. It's to stop that material in there. But what has happened in New York in particular, we've had to go, for any client we're working with in New York, we've had to go and backdate everything for every AI image they have created. So one of my clients had a full website made by AI. And then we had to work out what was stock imagery, what was AI imagery, what needed disclaimers on it, and the fines are quite huge. And I figure in Australia, we're going to get the same situation. We're going to get a legislation that'll come in. All my other fellow AI experts out there are saying the same thing. This is going to be something that happens. So just be aware of that. But my number one tips for you guys is use AI to take the content you've already got and make more out of it. You can take the blogs that have been performing well, look at your analytics, bring the content in, ask it, how do we write another version of it? Because especially if we've got good content that's going out there, the more we can manipulate it to do more for us, the better it is. And we can also look at other things. And I normally say to half of our team, if we've written something, go back and then go, what other content do we have on the website that we can cross-link back to in this blog post or this article or this podcast? That's where AI is really, really handy. And I was talking to Jeff in our little session about, if you've got a Google Workspace, set yourself up some notebook LMs so that you're training the notebook on the material that you want it to have, and then use it. But all your tools will hallucinate. All your tools will switch out from being the tool of the month. Claude is currently the tool of the flavor of the month right now. Gemini was the flavor of the month. Chat will be the flavor of the month. The one thing I can say in dealing with AI and automation since, God, Meet Edgar is one of the first tools that was using AI writing tools back in it, and I think we started with them in 2019. They all have different flavors and they all have different things that we can learn. It's just finding the ones that are right for your business. But make sure you always add the human back. Because what is a differentiating point right now is the thing that doesn't look AI generated. If you're too polished, people are questioning you. Which is great, because now we can do crap videos from the car and, all of those sorts of things, and, laugh and have all the ums and ahs in it, and it's not going to matter. It's giving you the permission to really step out with perfectly imperfect content.
Can I ask you a question, Linda?
Please, I'd much rather people ask me questions.
The newsletter, there's the LinkedIn newsletter and there's our email newsletter.
Mhm.
What I've done, just to give you an idea of what I've done, is that if they're on my LinkedIn newsletter, I've got them in my database, but I don't send the same newsletter or the newsletter to them because some people have subscribed there, but they haven't subscribed. They've unsubscribed from the email newsletter.
Yep. So if they're unsubscribed for the email newsletter, you're not
Mm.
allowed to send
No,
a
no.
newsletter to them anyway. Otherwise, the Anti-Spam Act will come and slap a fine at you at some stage in time.
But
Someone makes
sometimes
the most of it.
I notice people have, I see the LinkedIn newsletter, but they
Yep.
still send me the other newsletter. I haven't unsubscribed from them, but I get
Okay, so
both the same one.
let's actually tackle this. A subscription on your LinkedIn newsletter is actually not permission to subscribe them to your email database.
No, no.
So that's the number one thing. Okay. So you might unsubscribe from something on a newsletter database, but the LinkedIn one you're still subscribed to. So number one thing is just because someone follows you on LinkedIn, connects with you on LinkedIn, does not give you actual permission to send email marketing, including a newsletter to them. So your LinkedIn newsletter, what I say to most people is the strategy I use with LinkedIn newsletters is let's write enough of an introduction to direct people off to that blog or that video or that piece of content that we want to write. So we're using our cross-linking. So if you were putting together a LinkedIn newsletter this month, for example, you would sit there and go, okay, this is the topic I want to be. What blogs, what articles, what videos do I already have? And write and cross-link the content back.
Hmm.
So, but still our aim, like LinkedIn, it's been around for the 20 plus years I've been in marketing, but it could be gone tomorrow.
Mm.
So the LinkedIn newsletter subscribers are one thing, but ideally getting them into your database and into your ecosystem is ideally what you want to be able to do. I mean, just depends where people subscribe. I mean, I know people go through LinkedIn half the time and just tick the buttons, go, yeah, okay, that's what I had to do for my LinkedIn networking today. And then they're like, how did I get on this newsletter? I'm like, I don't know, but you had to opt in. We can't add you to that.
Yeah.
Has anyone got any questions about AI marketing? Like, I just happily take questions, please. I've been doing this for too long.
With the
Um,
agents,
I hope this doesn't sound too stupid, but where can I go to learn more about how to use Notebook LM? I hear a lot of people talking about it, but I don't know anything about it, and I'm kind of tech challenged.
Yep.
So,
Okay. So Notebook LM, I ran a session for my members recently. Notebook LM, just think about it as a library. Okay, it's a library. Notebook has actually got some really good tutorials themselves about it. So say, for example, Brenda, you were going to look at a client and you're looking at creating leads for the car manufacturer down the road, and they've got their brand voice, they've got their words that they do and don't want you to say, you know the things that you're required to do. You would load all that material into that Notebook LM. Okay, so things like their website links, their social media links, possibly even some competitor information. And what happens with Notebook LM is then when we connect that to a Gemini gem, okay, we connect it to the Gemini gem and we have a chat, it's only referencing the stuff in the Notebook LM. So that's why Notebook LMs are really handy. They can also then make presentations of that data and do all of those sorts of things and make mind maps and beautiful stuff that I would still strongly suggest we edit elsewhere because we don't need the Google watermark in that material. So we must probably go and edit it, use it from an ideation point of view. But Google itself has got some really handy tutorials on Notebook LMs. I'm happy to run another session on it at some stage in time and just go, look, it's basically, I say, think of it as the notebook that you're training it to reference. So you're training this particular, and then when you have a chat using that Notebook LM, it's only going to talk to that material unless you ask it to go and find something else on the web. So it's almost reducing the hallucination of the tool. Does that make sense?
it does. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I've sent you a connection request on LinkedIn. I've got the
Beautiful.
free version of LinkedIn, so I didn't send a message with it. It's just a connection request.
That's okay.
I'd
Fine.
like to figure out a time when we can book a call because there's a couple things I'd like to talk to you about.
My booking calendar is here. Just a little bit
Oh,
further up in the chat. Just go in and book
okay.
a time with me.
Oh, thank you.
Discovery course. Yep. Beautiful. There we go.
just
I'll put the link
I,
back in.
I was just going to add in there quickly, Linda, that is a good example of what you were talking to. So I recently had my chat thing doing some research on a particular area that I wanted to look in. I knew I was going to be driving somewhere And so I went to Notebook and I said, take all this stuff, put it into an audio, listen to that audio while I was in the car.
Yep.
And for half an hour, I got a whole, bit about the research and some suggestions on what I should be planning to do. It was, very cleverly done.
Yeah, I love notebook LMs. They're really, really good. I just think they're amazing to be able to bring information in.
I popped in the chat box a reviewer that I follow who
Yep.
does, and he's really good. He does all sorts of AI, but if our notebook, he's really good at updating and showing you little tools, and I've learned a lot from him in there, and he does updates. I've got one notebook in there that has my brain, my knowledge base, and I can
Yep.
refer to it all the time, so that I can tell it to look at one document in there and say use that, or use that to speak like me. So
And the handy thing about that, Ross, if you then take that into a Gemini gem and you're wanting to put a program together, and then you can give the gem its instructions. So the notebooks are the library as I talk about it, and then you get the Gemini gems to actually do the work. So you might make a social media writer, or you might make a blog writer, and you'll give it more detailed instructions and then connect the notebook to it as a reference source.
yeah, it's amazing. Look, we're coming up to time now. That 15 minutes went really quick.
It did go fast.
Have you got any last words you want to share, Linda, at all?
No, guys, I just think the main thing is remember to do the human check. The human check is going to become more and more important in your content. You will
Okay.
spot AI because you will know the AI images as they come out. Just watch all the menus out there at the moment. And for those of you who are around when Canva first came out, currently AI generated images are the Canva template. We can spot them a mile away.
Okay. Look, Linda, thank you for your time today.
You're
I
welcome.
enjoyed it. I hope people have got something out of it. Let's give Linda some love or some claps or something on the screen so that she knows that she's welcome, and you're welcome to come back anytime to just participate at any time.
Absolutely. I will definitely pop in.